you play as the KO Kid, a blonde-haired, all-American underdog with a chin made of granite and a right hook made of concrete. Unlike the realistic, licensed boxing games that tried to simulate HBO broadcasts, Super KO Boxing went for cartoonish, over-the-top fun. The developers at Glue had a specific goal to capture the sensibility of classic arcade boxing. The controls were ingeniously simple for a numeric keypad. You press 2 for a high punch to the face, and 5 for a low punch to the gut. You used 4 and 6 to dodge left and right, and 8 to block. But the secret weapon was the super meter. As you landed hits and dodged attacks, this meter filled up. When it was glowing red, you pressed the star key to unleash a haymaker uppercut that could send your opponent flying into the canvas. The best part is the knockdown recovery. When you got knocked down, the screen would warp and birds would circle your head. To get up, you had to tap the 5 key in time with the referee's count as the numbers converged on the screen. It was a tiny, stressful mini-game that made every comeback feel epic. Each fighter had unique tells, a glitter of jewelry, or a specific grunt that signaled a massive incoming attack. You had to see the tell, dodge, and counter. You had the circuit mode, where you fought through the national bash, the world-wide rumble, and the Super KO supremacy to unlock new characters. Once unlocked, you could face them in versus mode, or try the challenge mode, which added weird stipulations like you can't block to keep things interesting. Super KO Boxing was a massive critical hit for Glue Mobile. Pocket Gamer gave it a silver award, calling it the best fun you can have smashing people in the face. It was so successful that it spawned a sequel in 2009, Super KO Boxing 2, which moved over to iOS devices like the iPhone, adding touchscreen hooks and tilt controls. Anyone who played Java games knows the pain of crap controls. But Tennis Open 2007 nailed it. You moved your player with the 8-way directional pad, following a white cross on the ground that showed exactly where the ball would land. But here is the killer feature: when you were in position, that cross turned red. At that moment, your keypad became a shot placement grid. Hitting 1 sent the ball deep left, 2 was center, 3 was right. You could double tap a direction for a sliced shot or hit 0 for a lob. It was intuitive, fast, and incredibly responsive. No lag, no slowdown, just pure, pixel-perfect tennis. You started as a nobody, ranked outside the top 100. You traveled the world, from the clay courts of Paris to the hard courts of New York, to dethrone the cover star Lleyton Hewitt. Speaking of the star, why Lleyton Hewitt? In 2006, Hewitt was a firebrand. He was a former world #1, a Wimbledon and US Open champion known for his incredible speed and his never-say-die attitude. Despite being a 2D sprite, Hewitt was recognizable. But more importantly, the devs added a touch of personality that is rare even in games today. If you lost a crucial point, your player would throw a tantrum, chucking his racket to the ground in frustration. The opponent would pump his fist. The strategy went deeper than just hitting the ball. Different opponents had different play styles. Some would rush the net like serve and volley legends. Others would stay at the baseline and force you to make a mistake. And the physics changed depending on where you were playing. The ball moved slower on clay and faster on grass, forcing you to adapt your tactics for every tournament. Back in 2006 and 2007, this game was a darling of the mobile press. Pocket Gamer gave it high marks, calling it Grand Slam worthy, and saying it was the slickest, most playable mobile tennis game we've seen. Moby Games lists an average critic score of 90%. One of the most impressive feats of tennis was its sheer reach. Gameloft managed to optimize this game for everything. We're talking over 600 different mobile handsets. Whether you had a cheap Nokia flip phone or a high-end Samsung slider, you could likely play this game. It launched across 70 countries and 160 mobile carriers. Tennis Open 2007 sits in a fascinating historical sweet spot. It came right as mobile gaming was evolving from Snake into something resembling a real handheld console. It competed directly with Sega's Virtua Tennis Mobile Edition, and many argued Gameloft's offering was the superior game because it prioritized gameplay over flashy visuals. The Simpsons Minutes to Meltdown, often called Simpsons 3 by fans. This game was a mobile masterpiece that tried to squeeze the chaotic soul of Springfield into a tiny pixel screen. Released in 2007 by EA Mobile, this wasn't a simple puzzle game. This was a full-blown 2D platformer, and it was way harder than it had any right to be. True to Simpsons fashion, it starts with Homer's negligence. While playing with the control rods at Sector 7G, Homer triggers a core meltdown at the Springfield nuclear power plant. But this isn't just any meltdown, this is a minutes to meltdown situation. Why do we call it Simpsons 3? EA had a trilogy on Java. First came The Simpsons, the cartoon studio, then The Simpsons SMRT, and then this one. Even though the official title is Minutes to Meltdown, most old-school mobile gamers just call it Simpsons 3 because it was the third 2D platformer in the series. Unlike the modern mobile games that are full of microtransactions and waiting timers, this game was a one-time purchase. You bought it for $4.99, downloaded it over painfully slow WAP internet, and you played it until your battery died. It had no in-app purchases, no ads, just pure gameplay. That was a huge deal for a 300 kilobyte file. The writing was classic Simpsons, the music was catchy, and the anxiety of that 6-minute timer was real. For a generation of kids stuck in the back seat of a car, this game was their GTA and their Crash Bandicoot rolled into one.